Greetings and welcome, viewers. I am your host and storyteller, Sylvanov. Thank you for joining us as we delve into the world of darkness with Vampire the Masquerade. This stream is intended for a mature audience and does contain mature themes that may not be suitable for all viewers. The game revolves around a dark horror theme and may contain content that may be a trigger for some audience members. Please keep in mind that this is a work of fiction. The views and actions of the characters are not explicitly the views or actions of the actual players. At no time should any of the violence or horror portrayed in our game be attempted by anyone at any time for any reason. Please sit back, grab a drink and a snack, and join us on the shadowy path that is the world of darkness. And now, before we start, please meet and welcome our players for the afternoon.
Good day, good evening. I am Raven and I play Annabelle the Nosferatu.
Welcome in. I am Ravinia and I play Dr. J. Weiss.
So, when last we were in the therapist office, we were visiting with Zeke and Dr. Weiss. Zeke seeking some therapy for the many things that are going on through his mind. Towards the end of the evening, after he had finished his therapy session, he excused himself, left the office in the building, and went to the parking lot to await Annabelle's return. At which point, Annabelle revealed herself to Dr. Weiss from the shadows, causing a moment of panic where Dr. Weiss pressed her panic button, alerting her secretary that something was wrong. Annabelle and Dr. Weiss, take it away.
As the lights start to flash, or whatever the signal is for the panic button, Annabelle is going to quickly kind of sit back down again on the couch after previously starting to lunge at Dr. Weiss.
Dr. Weiss has backpedaled past her desk to try and create more distance.
Your door, there's a small knock at the door. You know exactly who it is and why she's doing it. It's your assistant, your secretary. She cracks the door open. Is everything okay, Dr. Weiss?
Oh, I'm glad you're here. And she turns to look directly at her assistant.
As Dr. Weiss looks away from Annabelle, Annabelle will disappear in the cloak of shadows and activate Silence of Death, and then proceed to activate Unseen Passage and move away from the couch so as not to be,
Okay. She takes a tentative step in and looks around. She looks very concerned, looks at you in your panicked face.
Someone was here.
Right, your last patient, Mr. Ephraim, but he left.
No, someone was here after, and they were right here. What?
Are you okay? Janet, are you okay?
I swear someone was here. I swear.
She kind of shakes her head and shrugs a bit as she looks around. No one came through. I didn't see anybody enter, and nobody's left since Mr. Ephraim left. Can I get you a water or a drink? Are you okay?
I don't know. Sometimes after intense sessions, things tend to linger.
Sure.
Yeah.
Your schedule is clear for the rest of the night. If you're okay, I'm gonna go on home. But just if you need me, just dial. I'll pick up right away. And
yes.
I'll make sure to lock up on my way out.
Thank you. Thank you.
Again, Janet, if you need anything, just please don't hesitate to call. With that, she steps through the door, closing it on her way. You can hear the muffled sounds of the outer door closing and a lock being thrown. And again, you are left alone in your office.
I immediately start pacing around. aiming to probably leave as quickly as my assistant has.
Okay. Annabelle? Are you jumping in?
Annabelle's waiting.
She's pacing around, getting stuff together, packing up a purse, putting folders away.
Mm-hmm.
Still looking around as if she's not sure if she's alone or not.
She starts moving towards the door. I will make my re-entrance.
Is it going to be in front or is it going to be...
That is for you to find out.
Okay. I was already prepping. Yeah, she's grabbed her bag. She's put down everything that needs to be put down, locked, filing away, and yeah, she's immediately going towards the door to where she's going to turn the knob. And
okay, well, as she starts reaching for the door handle, I'm going to grab her left wrist with my left arm because I'm coming up from behind her, and I'm going to put my right hand over her mouth. Shh, Dr. Weiss, it would be wise to be quiet. I'm going to kind of start dragging her towards the couch. Dr. Weiss, I will take my hand away if you promise not to make another scene. I'll take my hand off of her mouth. Can you sit on the couch, Dr. Weiss? I'll let go of her left arm.
Dr. Weiss's eyes dart around again, looking for her panic button, which is now back at her desk instead of
yes, I was gonna say I am positioning myself between her and the panic button. So
okay.
she does sit down.
Excellent. Thank you, Dr. Weiss. And as to say that, Annabelle will sit down in Dr. Weiss's chair at her desk now. Or wherever she was sitting before, sorry. We need to have an understanding, Dr. Weiss. I do not wish to hurt you. You must understand that Mr. White is important. He does not know how to hold his tongue, but he has purpose yet to serve.
I understand.
Do you? Do you think he just a madman rambling?
In Ezekiel's case, I think that there is a form of egotisticalness about him. He has, for lack of a better term, a God complex. And with everything that has happened on the news, I'm very much thinking that he saw it and reinterpreted it as he is at the center.
Mr. White does not believe himself a god. He believes himself a prophet.
Yes.
What he spoke of tonight, I believe to have actually happened. I know he is a monster like I am.
As she says that, and you finally kind of get in grips with the rolling emotions of being kidnapped in your own office and look at Annabelle more directly, you notice she does not look healthy. She's grayed, sunken eyes, some blemishes here and there that just don't look quite right. and you're very aware of that sensation of death.
Monster is an interesting term that individuals like to throw around.
Dr. Weiss, I am not throwing the term around. I know I'm a monster. I lost what makes me human over 100 years ago. I am not some simpleton. I am not your country charlatan. I am the real deal, the wolf in sheep's clothing.
Dr. Weiss is kind of sitting there, and you kind of see her leg kind of shake. A little bit of a nervous twitch, if you will. I understand.
Do you it's good. You're scared as well. You should be, but I don't think you understand what you think you might understand. Mr. White and I are what you would call vampires. And I take a great risk in telling you that. And you may laugh at me now. And as she says,
Sorry,
that,
it's a reaction.
I wasn't so fortunate to learn of our kind in such a nice setting as this.
So you mean to tell me vampires are real and they walk among us?
Yes, Dr. Weiss. We have been romanticized for generations, but we are not these creatures of beauty and grace and lustful whatever. We are the beasts that stalk your kind in the night. Well, some of us stalk your kind. Mr. White, though, he is not all there in some capacities, if you will, but the things he describes to you, I do not know for certain yet that they are true, but I do believe he had his hand in those things. You would be wise to take that under advisement, if you will. But I will caution you, Dr. Weiss, the things that you've heard here tonight and the things you've heard here other nights, as I assume Mr. White has been here before.
He's been my patient for over 6 years.
Oh, the stories he's probably told you, and you were none the wiser. Ignorance is bliss, after all.
My job is to help those that need help. And that's what I do.
Help indeed. Mr. White, he needs help. I am trying to give him help. And I want you to continue helping him. But that help will come with a price.
I'm sorry. I'm already being paid to.
Excellent. I no, Dr. Weiss. The price is one you have to make here and now, right now. Do you wish to continue living? Or would you rather we check off this box and move on? You can slough off your mortal coil, and Mr. White will be none the wiser.
Obviously, you're threatening my life.
Obviously.
I'd I'd rather live than die here and now.
Excellent.
What is it that you want?
I want you to continue helping Mr. White in however you see fit. But you can never tell anyone what happens in this room. You can never tell anybody anything he tells you, not in confidence, not in anything. Because if you tell anybody what he tells you or your suspicions of what he tells you, I will find you, Dr. Weiss.
First patient to have threatened you.
Mm-hmm.
However, the first one to successfully be in your office after hours without being noticed by anyone. There's a part of Dr. Weiss's brain that still
It's
latches
not
on to the
connecting.
fiction of this. Vampires, 100 years old, veiled threats. Yeah, it's not adding up.
I already have a patient confidentiality agreement. I'm not allowed to talk about anything that happens in this room.
Oh. Go on. Sorry, Dr. Weiss.
I'm not allowed to talk about any of the things that go on between patients unless it's a serious matter of physical harm, or I think the person is a danger to themselves or others.
That's the rub, isn't it? Mr. White is a danger to others, but you can never let anyone know.
Well, I don't specifically know that he's a danger to others. I know he has these grand delusions.
Interesting. I've learned much tonight because I wasn't aware of why he was the prophet. And now I am getting a better vision of what's going on in this town and area.
So you're a recent associate of his.
Unfortunately, yes. I was tasked with watching over him upon my return to this area, and he has caused me more trouble than I care to admit. But I can see that little glimmer of something there that might be useful. So I continue trudging forward with my duties of watching him and protecting him.
There's a moment where the shaking kind of stops because this is definitely more in line with, mental health and awareness. So this is more a manipulation to keep Ezekiel from doing any duress to you so that you might be better to utilize Mr.
Hmm.
White.
In a sense, possibly. He could bring everything down on our heads in his inability to keep his mouth shut.
Oh,
He speaks when he should not speak, and that causes issues for our kind.
so your kind are trying to keep everything under wraps, like some big conspiracy theory.
Annabelle, your beast speaks up in the back of your head. Just tell her Prince Georgiel will murder everybody in sight. That little asshole
Not
has
if I
killed
get
enough
them
people for the
first.
entire domain. This Dr. Weiss, this is just one more tick on a box. Just tell her the truth.
I'm telling her the truth. Annabelle says that out loud.
And of course, Dr. Weiss's eyebrows raise just a little.
You should know that there are other dangers than myself or Mr. White out there. Your governments, they would do harm to you too, or others, but they mostly are seeking people like me, or I guess I'm not a people. You get what I'm saying?
So grand of a conspiracy.
Of course, when we are viewed with such disgust and I don't know, disgust is probably the only word. It's not a surprise that people want to do harm to us because we do harm to others. But
It's
Look
a
at her face. She
natural
thinks you're
cause.
lying.
It's a natural cause and effect relationship. You do harm, someone needs to stand up to defend. It's a process. Balance, if you will.
Well, Dr. Weiss, if you really want to protect people, you will do what I ask you to do. And that is to stay quiet to anybody about Mr. White. I don't care what they say or what they do. And I will be your guardian angel to, if you need if you need protection, I can offer that to you to a degree, but I need your assistance in these matters as well.
She's kind of sitting there staring very intently at Annabelle.
You're staring at Annabelle. She's going to, I'm going to activate Eyes of the Beast, so you'll see her eyes actively change. You don't believe, but I will make you believe.
There's a moment where she's thinking, did somebody slip something in my drink? Did somebody?
Are the wheels turning, Dr. Weiss?
Show her the beast. Stop screwing around. She doesn't believe you. She thinks you're another nutcase just like Ephraim.
I get up. I stand up and start moving towards Dr. Weiss.
There is a reaction to get up and keep the distance.
Yeah, Annabelle exudes predator when she approaches. She looks like she's stalking.
Oh, so seeing that, she looks like she's going to get up, but then she sits back in the chair and tries to push as far back as she can.
Very wise. You wouldn't get very far if you chose to run again. And as I draw up in front of her, I'm going to take my hand, I am going to activate my feral weapons, and I'm going to so my fingers and my claws kind of gain like claws, and I'm going to cut into the palm of my hand.
What are you doing?
I'm showing you that this is not some joke. And I'm going to will the blood into my left hand to kind of pool up into it so that I'm kind of balling up blood in my hand. This, Dr. Weiss, and I will start moving it towards her face. This is the life. This is where we gain our power.
I'm going to assume it smells acrid and terrible.
It does. It absolutely does. It doesn't smell like coppery blood as one might expect. The taint of death is everywhere in the air.
Dr. Weiss, we come to the original question. Do you wish to live or do you wish to die?
I wish to live.
Then, sorry, go ahead.
I want to live.
You and I are not so different, Miss Dr. Weiss. I chose to live as well, though maybe I am not living so much anymore. You will drink this, my blood. It will strengthen you for the trials to come.
Seriously?
Yes, Dr. Weiss, I am deathly serious. You chose life, and this is the cost of life.
She does lean forward. There is a bit of a gag response.
It's hard to deny that she's no longer human in your eyes. She's got elongated claws in her hands. She's willed blood to pool in her palm. Her eyes are feral.
It's
too
much.
The shades
Too much
of
on top.
reality have been pulled away.
Oh. And she just kind of looks. There's this, are you serious kind of.
Annabelle just kind of pushes her hand closer to your face, towards your face.
Shakily, Dr. Weiss grabs the hand, pulls it forward.
Mm.
And there's a little recognition that happens. And she kind of stares a little defiantly at Annabelle, but
good.
This ain't my first rodeo, cunt. And then she does take it.
So there's a taste. It's not like blood. You've tasted blood before. You've busted a lip, bit a tongue, a cheek. This is foul. Yeah. But at the same time, there's a rush of sensations that flood through the brain and the body as ingesting that vampiric vitae wells a sense of strength, a sense of power, acumen and clarity of thought, reach a height that you haven't ever experienced. It's almost instant, like smoking crack cocaine. And it's instantly addictive as well, because God, why don't I have this every day?
I did what you wanted.
Yes. As Annabelle pulls her hand away from Dr. Weiss, she kind of just like licks her palm. Very good, Dr. Weiss. You get to live another day. Hmm. There's perks and benefits to our arrangement. I don't want you to feel like this is one-sided. Like I said, you are under my protection now, Dr. Weiss.
Annabelle, your beast speaks up again. Are you going to tell her the truth and tell her how fucked she is now? You going to tell her that she's a slave?
No,
Tell her the
that
truth.
comes later.
She deserves the truth.
No.
Or
She'll
is she
find
just
out in
another
due
toy
time.
for Zeke?
No,
You keep giving him
Mr.
gifts.
White.
So if this is supposed to be some sort of symbiotic relationship, how do I call on you? How do I?
Annabelle, like, she kind of reaches into the folds of her clothing and she pulls out a old flip phone, and she said she brings up a thing. She can't remember her phone number, so she brings up a thing that said her phone number, and she's like, this number, I believe, will allow you to contact me. You may call me you may call me Shelly. In time, you may learn my real name, but for now, you can call me Shelly.
Very well, Shelley. And she has reached into her purse and grabbed a pen and notepad and has written the number down. Her hands are shaking. There's
Keep that number safe. Do not let it fall into the wrong hands. And as I said, if anybody comes asking about vampires or Mr. White, you don't know anything, because it would be a shame if something were to happen to you so quickly after our arrangement had begun.
understood.
I will visit you again. If you need me, you can reach me. But do expect to see me again very soon, Dr. Weiss. Oh, and don't tell Zeke that I've been here. He mustn't know. It would be a shame to make him lose confidence in you.
Agreed.
Excellent.
I think it's time for you to leave, Shelley.
Yes. And as to say that, I'm going to back away and kind of just, I don't know. Is your assistant gone, or?
She's gone for the day.
Excellent. Annabelle will just step out through the door then and disappear.
All right. Dr. Weiss, as you watch her walk out, you notice that your eyes become crystal sharp, that the glasses are actually messing with your vision. And looking past them, it is uncanny how absolutely crystal clear everything is. You can pick out details from distances, grains of the wood floor, several paces away, are clear as you've ever seen anything in your life. the scents in the room start to take on a shape and flavor in your mind. Like you are hyper aware of them. Sounds of the building, AC units kicking on here or there. The ticking of a clock out in the hallway is audible.
I walk up to the door and I lock my office
Okay.
very succinctly. I look around and there's at my desk there is a small decanter of scotch that is sealed away for difficult moments.
Excellent.
And I walk over to my desk and I open it and I go to grab a glass and I actually just sit the glass down and I just take a drink from the decanter
Excellent.
while pulling out a notepad, and she proceeds to write everything that has happened down.
Okay.
Everything that has happened, all the details. And once that's down, she walks away carrying the decanter now. And she goes to look outside and she takes a drink. And it's like she's waiting 5 minutes. And then she comes back to her chair and rereads the notes.
Sure.
When I took Mr. White on as a patient, I was told to keep him stable, keep him calm, try and keep everything running as operational. This is way above what I'm supposed to be dealing with. And I take the paper, and of course it gets ripped up in the process. And she goes to throw it in the trash, and then she stops. Great, I'm going to have to burn this now. Fantastic. She then picks up her cell phone. And she doesn't call directly, but she texts Roland.
Okay. What does she text him?
Something really fucked up just happened. After session with Mr. Black, which is a code name.
You get a prompt reply back. Hope you are well, Janet. Long time no speak.
I am not well.
Are the payments getting to you?
The payments are. But someone just came in here and she kind of hesitates to write the last bit and assaulted me. It's like she has to recognize that what happened was.
There's a slight pause before another response. Have you called 911?
It's not that kind of situation. This might be, I think this is linked to Mr. Black's whereabouts.
Again, there's a short pause, and then there's 3 letters that are sent back. BRT.
And yeah, she puts the phone down and drinks more scotch.
Excellent. It's probably a good 15, 20 minutes before you can hear a knock at the outer door of the office. Since both doors are locked, there's nobody to answer it other than yourself.
Dr. Weiss does jolt at hearing the knock. And she comes out looking a little haphazard and unlocks the door really quickly, lets him in, locks it immediately.
Roland doesn't say anything right away. He takes a good look around, takes a good look at you. So, are you okay, Janet?
Something happened.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
I was finishing my session with Mr. Black, and apparently someone was in here with us during session.
Other than Mr. Black. Who was it?
Some woman.
What'd she look like?
Terrible. Almost meth-addled, marked face. Clear signs of OCD, maybe picking. Just terrible.
He continues talking to you as he enters the office and starts looking around as he continues to talk to you, making almost a beeline for your desk, picking up the now dead wilted rose that was in its vase. As he picks it up, the petals fall and almost crumble into dust as they hit the desk and floor.
I just bought those today, and they're wilting. I don't know.
Janet, you know who I work for and who I represent. If something occurred here, know that you can tell me and be absolutely honest.
It sounds insane, Roland.
You deal with the insane on a daily basis, Janet. What happened?
This Mr. Black left. And this woman just appeared out of nowhere.
Appeared out of nowhere?
Yes, just...
Okay, go on. Let's just assume that that's absolutely what happened. Go on.
Yeah. All right. She started making threats, trying to get me to make sure that I keep my mouth shut about Mr. Black's machinations, his mental stability.
Contacts?
No. That's another thing.
Continue. She made threats. Then what?
I hit the panic button. My assistant showed up. She was gone again. She was sitting right fucking there, and she points.
And he looks.
Gone again. Like nothing was here. My assistant looked at me like I was having an overstressed day.
And were you?
Yeah. It almost seemed like she was concerned that I might have been dipping into my own stock of...
Well, I don't think anybody would fault you if you did that. But aside from the point, so
I don't. It's meant for therapeutic reasons.
Of course. So there's no chance that this is your mind playing tricks on you.
No, with what happened.
Okay, so let's get to that. What happened? This person shows up, plays a disappearing act, threatens you.
My assistant leaves for the day because clearly no one was in here. I go to gather my things to leave. And this person appears and drags me back into my own fucking office.
Wow. He walks over to you, takes the bottle of scotch from you, ruffles around your desk, finds a glass, and pours himself one. Pours one for you and hands you an actual glass.
Yeah, she grabs it, and her hand is definitely shaking as she's reliving the moment. And this person says that they're over 100 years old, that they're a vampire. I've heard things like this before from patients.
You have a lot of these patients?
Not normally, but I've heard of studies and I've heard of things where people self-import themselves. And
So she claims to be a vampire, over 100 years old. And what?
her
'Cause you
eyes
said you
changed
were
color, Roland.
Really?
Her fingers became like claws. She had this presence, this.
He takes an overly long drink of the scotch and sets it down. Go on. So eyes change, claws.
She threatened my life. She asked me if I wanted to die right here and now or if I wanted to live.
Obviously, you chose to live. By what means would she have carried out this threat?
There's something about her, something. I don't like using the term, something inhuman, monstrous.
What are you not telling me, Janet? He pulls out a handkerchief, licks a spot, and then wipes your bottom lip just enough and hands you back the handkerchief, showing a smear of blood.
She made me drink her own blood, but it wasn't like anything I had ever. It was disgusting, foul, and yet I can see now. I've had glasses my entire life, Roland. My entire life.
Yeah. Not anymore.
I don't know what's going on. I feel like I'm going insane, but clearly I'm not.
All right. He walks over to the other seat and sits down where Annabelle was. So I've got good news and bad news. The good news is you're not insane. And you're not dead. The bad news is you've got a lot to learn in a very short amount of time because your life now depends on it. If what you described to me actually happened, you are now an elite member of a very small club. I'm one of them.
Oh,
our mutual friend, my boss, your benefactor.
Mm-hmm.
How do I put this? He's over 400 years old.
The conspiracy bullshit is true?
It's not a conspiracy, and unfortunately you are now caught up in a whirlwind of shit that you probably had no idea was coming.
No, of course not.
Did it never occur to you a strange thing to be paid so much to take care of a single client a couple times a month? Or was it just the happiness of greed that made you overlook these simple things?
It had occurred to me. I thought maybe our benefactor had increased invested interest in the stability
of
the client.
He absolutely does.
And judging by, I'm just going to drop code names, judging by what Ezekiel's mental state is, he does need someone to lend that helping hand for not just, making sure he gets to these appointments on time, but paying for them.
I really don't think it was the money factor for him seeing as you're being well paid to look after
Hmm.
Mr. White. I think that you should probably have a quiet evening and do some searching, because what I'm going to have to tell you tomorrow is going to upend your universe. It is going to change absolutely everything for you. Nothing in your life will ever be the same. Nothing.
How do I go home after this? Do I just take a bubble bath and try and...
I can drop you off. I brought a vehicle. But I don't want to I can't have this conversation with you right now. I just can't. Your mind is not ready to hear what I have to say. Promise me. I promise you.
Anyway, it's this individual extra invested interest in making sure my correspondence with Ezekiel is kept locked tight, under lock and key. Absolutely no one's supposed to know about it. But I already had this agreement with you and our benefactor.
Of course.
I don't know what this person really wants with Ezekiel.
I don't either. But we'll start asking around, as it were. Look, you're not dead. You're not poisoned. You're not crippled. But things are going to change drastically. By the time you open your eyes tomorrow, you will have a much larger understanding of the world around you. You've been living a lie your entire life. Mr. White's told you a bit about what's on the other side of the veil. But like any good human, and he pauses on the word, you've done exactly as expected. Disbelieve. How could something so horrible be so real? Guess what? It's very, very real. I wish I had better things to tell you. I wish I had sunshine and rainbows. Bouquet of flowers, though it looks like if I brought those to you, they would be no good either. We'll definitely have to talk. Put it out of your mind. Deal with the emotions of the assault first. Then we'll worry about wrapping your head around the truth of reality.
All right. She finishes her glass of scotch. She closes the decanter, puts it back. She does look at her vase of flowers, though.
Crumbly bits of black moldiness.
And She full up grabs it. There's this instantaneous grabs it, and she throws it right against the wall.
It doesn't just smash against the wall. It busts through this side of the drywall into the adjacent office and then smashes into several pieces.
What the?
Janet? Calm down. I told you, everything is changed. Everything. Let me take you home.
That is probably good. I can get people to take care of that tomorrow.
I would recommend clearing your schedule for a day or two. I'll pay for any inconveniences you might have to undergo for that. And then I will drop you off at home. You will take a nice bubble bath or whatever you need to do. And I'll come by, say, 9 o'clock in the morning tomorrow, and we'll have a nice breakfast. Sounds good? Let's go. I'll get the lights.
Thank you. She
Roland
grabs her bag and
sets the scotch glass down, heads to the door, holds it open for you, locks it behind him, leads the way out of the building, out the parking lot in the vehicle, and the two of you are gone. Annabelle, as you're getting in your car, rejoining Zeke and heading about whatever it is you were heading about, as you're pulling out, you do notice a nice vehicle pull in. It's an Audi. And a person gets out that you've never seen before, who enters the building, causes you enough hesitation to wait for a few minutes. About 30 minutes later, he comes back out, escorting Dr. Weiss into the car and away. Now, that is where we're going to end our small scene today. Hope you all enjoyed. We are potentially going to be back at about 7 p.m. this evening for our normal game. Hopefully my sinuses will clear up by then, so I don't have to be a sniffly mess. Thank you all for joining us in the viewing audience, and we will catch you all a little later this evening. We love you all. We'll check to you soon.
bye.